suffer to go.
I gotta get another light in this room. It's so dark.
Hey! First try, Kate Cotton. First
It
try.
worked?
Yes!
No fucking way. Look at that. We're a minute early.
I know! I look like a fat piece of shit. I won't lie.
No, you don't.
I do, man. I do. And that's okay.
Well, today's your off day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
so
Babe, we are
why
streaming,
try?
but if you have to use the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Do we have a bathroom that is not in this bedroom that he could use?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Maybe he
Okay.
likes that potty.
Well, he does, because it's our potty, you know?
Yeah,
The other potty is the guest potty. So
exactly.
he's
I
more
get it.
comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock, Kate Cotton.
7:59, but oh wait. As I said that,
Not
it
according
changed to 8 o'clock.
they
There
say,
we go.
not according to mine. Not according to mine.
Maybe the Tampa time zone is 1 second different than the Long
Maybe.
Island time zone.
Maybe. Well, welcome everybody. If
Oh
you've
yes,
been
hello.
in listening to anything that we've been talking about for the past few minutes, it's been a divulging conversation. Hello. Goodbye. um
Hello. Goodbye. Don't come back here for 2 hours, please.
um
Just kidding.
Welcome to Two Turntables and a Microphone, everybody. Yay! My name is Jessi.
Yay. Oh, I'm Kate.
Kate
Cotton.
Cotton. Yum.
Yum.
For those of you that are new to this podcast, so are we. It's okay. We are two ladies that have been podcasting together for, gosh, what, 3-4 years now? Off and on.
Yeah.
And
5.
5? Jesus.
It was yeah.
God, time is just...
I know, it's really upsetting.
Anyway, we've been podcasting together for 5 years. And we recently decided to jump off the platform of focusing on our favorite band, which is Pearl Jam, and listening to a variety of music and just discussing it and shooting the shit, because that's what Kate and I like to do best. We like to shoot
It is
the
what we
shit.
do best.
It is. We have
It
great
is indeed.
conversation. People don't even know.
Well, they're about to find out.
That's right. So, if you're not new and you're returning, thanks for coming back. If you were with us in the Porch Podcast era and you're here, we appreciate you. We love you.
We really do. It's so
Yeah, we
nice if they're
do.
here. Wouldn't that
I
be so
hope they
nice if
I
they
hope
came and
that they
joined?
I mean, I don't know.
I
I
miss
feel like a
them.
lot of our listeners that are from the Porch Podcast era are not on the East Coast, and so
They're not. This is hard
they're
for them.
not
This
yeah,
is
it's
the end of the workday. Yeah.
exactly. So, but they'll watch it. I know they will. So, it'll be fine. How have you been, Kate? How's life treating you?
My month has been good.
Good.
Yeah, nothing, no personal life updates. I was actually thinking, since we're talking about our introductions now, do you think maybe since this is a new platform and a new content, like we should tell people a little bit about ourselves?
Oh,
Because
sure.
we kind of just jumped in last
Ew,
time.
woo. Let's do it. Bios.
Yeah, I was just thinking, people might be on here and be like, who the hell are these people? Why
Yeah,
are they doing this? You know what I mean?
or people that listened to us 2 or 3 years ago on the porch may be like, we don't even remember much about these people now.
Exactly.
So we're
All right, I'll
different
let you go
people. We
first.
change. Oh God. Okay, on the spot.
Well, first tell me how your month was, and then you can tell me about yourself.
So my month was kind of hellish. I'll be straight with you.
No.
I will divulge to Kate in more detail because I would like to
Ooh.
keep some things private, but
Kate gets the tea.
I was having some pretty serious health problems this month.
Oh, no.
And I was kind of still recovering from them. So I've had a pretty rough month, to be straight.
Do you feel okay today?
I feel okay. I mean, you know what? Who gives a fuck, right? So for those of you that may not know, I have been for the past about close to 2 years on a fertility journey. Um,
Mm,
my husband and I have been trying to get pregnant, and I have PCOS, and so it's
mm-hmm.
very difficult for women with PCOS to get pregnant. And I've been taking fertility pills, and we've been tracking things, and you know, lots of doctor's appointments, lots of writing things on calendars, lots of scheduled intercourse and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I took my fourth round of the uh, fertility medicine in March. And about 2.5 weeks ago, I basically started having really severe mouth sores in my mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. So there is there's a pill that people will use with fertility that was originally created as part of a chemotherapy treatment regimen for breast cancer patients. But they found that it has a lot of components that will help women also get pregnant. So they would like to start switching over to this medicine pretty exclusively from Clomid, which is the old medicine that's been a fertility medicine for years, because it lessens the chance of women getting pregnant with twins, with triplets, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So they put me on letrozole or Femara, which is like the big pharma name for it. And last month in February, when I did my round, I noticed that my mouth was kind of sore, but like there was nothing that popped up or anything. And then this month, about 24 hours after I finished my round of fertility medicine that I take for 5 days, I woke up with raging mouth sores all in my mouth. And so I've been in and out of the doctor for like the past 2.5 weeks trying to figure out what was going on. Like, was this due to the medicine? Was this something different? I've had my blood drawn a bunch of times. I've had scopes ran down my throat. I've had cultures taken out of my mouth, like scraped out of my mouth. I've been on mouthwashes. I've been on steroids. You know, it's been quite a month to be
That
straight.
sounds
So
so painful.
it's been awful. And Friday, it kind of came to like a head this past Friday. And I woke
Mm-hmm.
up like it was crawling like all back into the backs of my cheeks,
Oh.
um, up on the roof of my mouth. It's still like all up in my gums, under my tongue. My lips were like Kim Kardashian sized.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we finally figured out that I'm actually having an allergic reaction to the letrozole.
Yeah,
So
that's what
I
it sounds
cannot take
like.
the letrozole anymore. So, which is unfortunate,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to have a baby.
Yeah.
But my husband and I, we've done a lot of thinking and a lot of talking, and we've talked with all the doctors that I've seen, the ENT doctors, our family doctor, several doctors at the walk-in clinic that I was going to when I woke up and it was like raging.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them feel like I need a break from fertility treatments right now. I need to get my
Okay.
body's immunity back up, because
Yeah.
letrozole like tanks your immune system, because it's a chemotherapy drug, and that's what
Yeah.
chemotherapy does, is it tanks your immune system. So um, yeah, so it's fine. I'm fine, like emotionally, I'm fine. I've been in so much pain that it's kind of superseded any emotional
Yeah. Yeah. Like
issue I might
nothing that.
have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so yeah, that was my month of March. It was
Okay.
not the best.
Yeah.
Sorry to TMI
No, that's
everybody.
no.
Sorry to bring
No, that's
the
not. No, this is. Yeah, we need to talk about these things. I mean, as long as you're comfortable sharing, these
yeah,
are realities that people are living through. It's
yes,
just life. Everybody is going through something all the time, and
yep.
um, it's good to know that too. So, like, if at any point you like feel too uncomfortable today or something, we can take a
Oh, I'm
break. Or
fine. I've been on steroids. I started
I just
steroids
couldn't
again on
imagine talking
Friday.
with a mouth sore.
So there a lot of them are gone because I started the
Okay.
steroids again. I did a round of 6 days of steroids and then it came back last week. like, and it came back like quadruple what it was. So I started a long-term steroid that's going to last me 2 weeks rather than, because you know how they have the steroids that it's like 6 pills for one day, 5 pills for one day, and then it's like just 6 days and it like kind of punches you in the gut, but it gets you past whatever.
Yeah.
I did that the first time, and I don't think that I was on steroids long enough. So I'm doing another 12 days of steroids, and then I'm also the family doctor that we have is an integrative doctor. So she uses a lot of natural remedies. She uses a lot of like alternative medicine. And one of the things that she does is FSM treatment, which is frequency stimulation. I can't remember what the M stands for. But essentially it has something to do with your brain waves. Some people might agree with it, some people may not. It has worked wonders for my husband who threw his back out about a year and a half ago. He gets it the treatment regularly, and it has made all the difference in his back. So I'm also starting a detox FSM treatment to literally pull whatever letrozole is still in my body like out. So hopefully I will be back to normal. Right now, I still do have some sores like at the base of my gums, but on my lips and on my cheeks and under my tongue is all feeling really good. It's actually like really fresh skin, so it's tender, but it's not sores. It's like replenishing itself. So it's not too bad. I'm doing okay. I can talk.
Okay, good.
But
You
that's
seem
why I
okay,
can't drink
so-
tea. I haven't drank anything but water for almost 3 weeks. So
Your body's more hydrated than ever. Ironically.
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
man, that's a tough time. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the worst part about all of it is brushing my teeth. I feel like I haven't properly, this is gross, but I feel like I truly haven't thoroughly brushed my teeth in 3 weeks because every time I brush my teeth, I feel like somebody's just taking knives and just like scraping. So I do the bare minimum of brushing like I brush
like,
as quick as I can and then I spit it out and I'm done. Yeah.
So I bet even having anything like with a flavor in your mouth is like triggering. Like,
not
you know how toothpaste
my
can be like
toothpaste.
almost like
Yeah.
minty, like or like not
my
acidy,
toothpaste
but,
is pretty brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I use Sensodyne, so I use like a sensitive toothpaste, and it's still pretty fleshy. It hurts.
Yuck.
Anyway, that's outside of who I am as a person. This is a one-time thing, and I'm gonna not take this medicine anymore, and I'm gonna feel great. So
PSA to other people on fertility treatment. Talk to your doctor about
talk
the
to your doctors. Yes, talk to your doctors. Because I'll tell you, I approached my infertility doctor and they basically were like, we don't think there's any connection between this and the letrozole. And then 4 other doctors are like, yes, there is. So,
crazy.
You know,
it's like we're all just making shit up in the world, and like
I know.
Doctors.
I know, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
So outside of that, my name is Jessi. If you didn't hear me before, I live in Florida, and I am married. I've been married for going on 6 years, and I own a record store here in town. I've done that for almost 10 years. What else about me? I love Disney. I'm obsessed with Disney. I'm using my new Animal Kingdom Starbucks cup because it's
Obviously.
precious. Yeah. I love Disney. I love nerdy things. So I love like Lord of the Rings. I love Harry Potter. I love Marvel. I love Star Wars. I love all that stuff. What else? What else about me, Kate? What should people know? I don't even know.
You have a sweet dog, Darcy, who's not on our live streams anymore.
Yes. No, she's not. She's just too antsy. She is very sweet. She's just very high maintenance. And if I'm not paying attention to her 24/7, she's just like devastated. So she goes to bed before we get on.
She's a princess.
She's a bit of a princess. So, but yes, I do have a dog named Darcy, and I feel like that's like really me in a nutshell. I'm obsessed with Little Mermaid. I'm obsessed with Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Little Mermaid. Did you say that already?
Yeah.
Now I'm nervous. I don't think I'm going to do as good.
Why are you nervous? You shouldn't be nervous. Oh, okay. I'll do this too. My top 5 artists
Mm.
in no particular order, but that's something that I feel like as a music podcast we should cover.
Okay,
My
I
number
can do
one
that.
of all time forever is Jack White. He's my favorite.
Hmm.
Everything I encompass everything that he does under his own umbrella. So the White Stripes, the Rocket Tours, the Dead Weather, his solo stuff. I love it all. He's my favorite. Pearl Jam, obviously. I'm a huge Prince fan. Um, who else do I love? I love Chris Cornell, big Chris Cornell fan. And who else? Who else? Who else? Talking Heads probably is in my top five.
Mm.
So that's yeah. I think that's a good place to sit.
That is a good.
Your turn,
That sounds like you. Okay. My name's Kate.
Kate Cotton. Yum.
Yum. Again, this is if you want to know the origin of this, probably go back to episode 1 of our podcast. Our
It's
previous
got to
one,
be
not
within the
this one.
first couple episodes. Yeah.
It is, yeah, for sure. Um, I live in New York. Um, I have a super fun government job that I won't
Mhm.
go into detail about. I live with my boyfriend of 2.5 years, over 2.5, less than two,
I think
less
June
than
is
3.
3 years, right?
July,
July.
yeah. Um, and we just moved to this apartment a couple months ago, so that's been fun, kind of getting settled in. We've lived together longer than that. I am obsessed with my cat and just cats in general. I love to travel. I love to travel for music or not for music or just whatever. I go to many, many concerts. Actually, me and Kevin have 11 concerts lined up this year already. Yeah.
Wow. I don't have
Yeah, we
any.
are.
That's not true. I'm
We're
seeing
just-
Justin Timberlake. I'm seeing Justin Timberlake in June.
you
I am seeing.
are. Oh, that's
Yes.
exciting. Yeah, I would have thought about that if I didn't already have like 100 other concerts to go to because I'm sure that
Hmm.
it wasn't cheap. And I used to play guitar, or I used to take guitar lessons. I stopped. So I can very, very, very amateurly strum a guitar.
Hey,
I
it's
could
better
play
than
like
I can do.
kid songs. Um, and yeah, I mean, I spend most of my weeks and months seeing my friends every couple of weeks. We do trivia every week, which has become a big part of our personality. And yeah, that's kind of me.
What are your top 5 artists? Just toss them out there.
Pearl Jam, Radiohead, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm surprised Radiohead just came out of my mouth first before Red Hot Chili Peppers. The Kings of Leon. For some reason, that fifth spot always feels like,
I know it's you have to really think about it.
yeah, like something's hanging in the because I know I'm gonna think of something later and be like, oh no, I like that artist more than this other one.
Hmm.
Honestly, I mean the fifth spot I'll leave as like a rotation. I might say right now my fifth spot is Harry Styles.
Oh my God, that's a big
Yeah,
statement.
I know. I love him. I have never heard. I mean, putting One Direction aside because I don't know a lot of One Direction music. I mean, I did have a moment with them in my past, but like Harry solo, I love every single thing that he's done. I have like no criticism. So, yeah, I love him, and he puts on a great show. So
There you go.
he's
Hey,
my
I love
fifth
Harry
for now.
Styles too. That's a good choice. That is a good
Oh, thank
choice.
you. That's me in a
Well,
nutshell.
okay. So we've dove into some things about us. I've divulged way too much information probably, but it's fine.
No,
People are
it's
probably
okay.
going to be listening to this going, why is she talking about mouth sores? It's gross. Um, so should we dive into the world of Primus for a minute?
Absolutely. I think we need to preface this by
Okay.
saying
Okay.
I know in our last episode, this album came up a couple of times, or this band at least. I promise everyone out there, this was not rigged. This
It
was
was not.
not
It was
a
totally not.
plan
I was
at
witness to a
all.
choice. It was not rigged.
After our episode last week, I got excited about the show and our like little record club. So I sent Jessi no more than like 7
Yeah.
albums to add to the pot of what you said, like 200.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Um, this album, Frizzle Fry by Primus, being one of them, because it was on my mind from our last episode. I'd be like, and I was like, oh, that would be kind of fun if that came up. And no joke, Jessi texted me a week and a half later, "You're not going to believe this, but we
Yep.
fucking picked Frizzle Fry by Primus." I could
Yes,
not
we
believe
did.
it.
Yes, we did. My record club pal Matt, it was his turn to pick out of the pot, and when I took your choices and I put them in there, I really shook the box up so that it would kind
So
of
it's literally
settle.
paper in a box.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I have a box that has stickers all over it, and I printed out, like, I just typed up every album. I threw it in this box, and then we literally just pull from the box every month when we meet. And Matt was just rummaging around, and he's like, "I'm gonna get one from the bottom," and he like grabbed, and it was Frizzle Fry.
Oh my god.
So
did you guys have your meeting? Or do you do your meeting after ours?
yeah, so we will meet next week to talk about Frizzle Fry.
Oh,
the
okay.
4 of us. Well, 5.
I'm curious. What was their response?
4. There's 4 of us, not 5. There's 4. One of them is almost asked if he could veto it. Because he does not like Primus.
Oh,
so well, I'm hoping, because there are some things that I want to share tonight that I've kind of had on my mind concerning Primus, and I'm hoping that he will kind of see this side of things too.
Okay.
So I'm really hopeful that maybe he's given it a listen and he's warmed up to it. We have one that he is like painfully neutral about everything. Like, he doesn't ever want to ruffle feathers. So he's going to be the one that's like, hey, I'll listen to whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Matt, who is the one that pulled Primus from the box, he is very excited because he's a Primus fan. So
okay, so it was like a Goldilocks type situation.
It really was. Like, it was like all over the board. And then you have, I'm kind of like so the 3 guys in my club, Jason, Tim, and Matt. And Tim and I are kind of like very neutral. Like, we'll try everything. Mm-hmm. Hey, we don't know what it is, but we'll listen to it. Jason is the one that is very much not a Primus fan. And Matt is the one that is a Primus fan, so he's very excited to explore Frizzle Fry harder. Like so, yeah. Listen, Jason has awesome taste in music. It's just that Jason doesn't really do well with chaotic music in any capacity.
Okay.
So, like last month when we did that Italian record that you and I didn't cover, it was a little bit chaotic as well. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't handle it. Like, it just doesn't. He uses music as a balm because this dude owns like 6 businesses. He like is this crazy entrepreneur. He's got tons of stuff on his plate. And I think he uses music a lot as like a calming balm. And so things like this I think this is all me just basing it off of what I know about him. I think it just causes his brain too much chaos. And that's cool. I can understand that,
And I am definitely not here to argue against people who might not be into this band, because as someone who is, I can almost fully understand it. So I am not, no judgment at all, especially with a band like this. I don't expect most people to be interested in listening to them. So that's very fair. Yeah. So, that being said, I am curious where you so I feel like last time around, I know you didn't like know the Bauhaus record, but you had a bunch more familiarity with them than I did.
Yes.
And I don't know how familiar you were previously with this album or with Primus in general. So I'm curious now to kind of ask you what your thoughts were when this was picked. And, like the first listen through, like if this was your first listen through, like, kind of where were you at?
Yeah. So I have known Primus for a very long time because they were on the first Tony Hawk soundtrack. And my brother and I played.
Do you know what song?
Jerry was a race car driver.
Okay. Yeah.
And we played that game religiously, so I already knew from like a young age who Primus was, but that was the only song I really knew when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then when I started getting really into 90s music, hearing more Primus on like Sirius XM Lithium and like different things like that. So I've dipped my toes in Primus, but I've never like fallen off the cliff, so to speak.
Fair.
So
And
when we picked
sorry,
this,
before you go, I want to mention too that I am a fan of this band, but like if we're using like the pool analogy, if you've dipped your toes, I'm like up to my waist.
yeah.
So I know their music here and there, and I love this album, but overall, not fully in the deep end, submerged. So I just want to make that clear too. That's kind of where I am at. So
I think it needs to be recognized that, I mean, they have a decent little discography.
Yeah.
But they don't have a huge discography. They really don't.
Considering how long they've existed, they don't. It's not even 10 albums, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's 9. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's 9.
So really, Primus is like, you know, you think of like, I don't want to get too far ahead because I also have details about the album that I want to share. But you think about, because I don't label them as a jam band, but I also do kind of label them as a jam band in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about
that today that they could be.
Yeah, they kind of like toe the line. But most jam bands have like a bazillion albums.
Yeah.
All like so many of them have so many records. And so the fact that Primus has a relatively condensed discography is interesting. And they also have quite a following considering how condensed their discography is. For how old they are, for when they got started, how long they've been collecting fans versus how big their discography is. It is just interesting to see kind of the contrast.
It's got to be the live shows because
It has. Oh yeah.
You know, with any other quote unquote jam band, because they also didn't have any new music between 1999 and 2011.
Yeah, exactly.
And they took like a brief hiatus during that time, but they didn't like lose popularity among their fans. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that this band's live performance is what drives a lot of people to stay their fans, because how can you not? Yeah, how can you not? I mean,
yeah.
So before we get too far, I did want to I wrote some notes down. I'm going to try to do them in a very similar setup every week so that we can go through. So Frizzle Fry was released on February 7th, 1990, according to the Wikipedias. The genre for this particular album is listed under funk metal and alternative metal. Interesting that they're considered metal, but I can kind of see it.
They have metal moments. This is something I want to touch on, the whole genre thing.
Yes.
So that's, yeah.
Yes. The location of the recording was different for studios in San Francisco, California, and they put this out under the record label Caroline Records, which was founded in 1993, and it was 1973. I'm sorry. It was a label that was originally designed to cater to UK prog bands, but in 1986 it was rebranded for the US and was used to host a variety of punk and new wave and post-punk and alternative bands. And it was eventually bought out by Capitol Music, like everything else in the music industry is. Other than that, I have some miscellaneous information. This is considered Primus's debut studio album. But they did have a live album called Suck on This that preceded this record. This was also a self-financed project. So Primus, I'm pretty sure if I read this right, some of the proceeds from Suck on This went towards them doing Frizzle Fry.
That's what I read.
The album features the radio single John the Fisherman and the fan favorite Too Many Puppies. And Too Many Puppies was the first song that Les Claypool wrote for Primus, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love Les.
So, okay, that's all my facts, just to lay the foundation. So, where are we starting? Do you want to do this track by track like you were talking about, like we did last time?
Yeah, I guess we might as well do track by track. Let me see if there's any other facts that I wrote down. Because I think most of the stuff I wrote down is not facts. It's just stuff I want to bring up. fact, Les Claypool ranked Frizzle Fry as his own favorite Primus album in
That's
2015.
awesome.
I don't know. This is all about. I thought it was interesting that they originally. This really is not. Doesn't matter as a fact, but I thought it was kind of funny that they started out in 1984. Their band name was actually Primate first, and they had to change it to Primus, I guess, at some point in time, because I guess there was a band out there called the Primates who were going to sue them for copyright infringement or whatever. So
Interesting.
That's where that name comes from. They also, if you look at their Wikipedia page, they have a wild timeline with their drummer. And I just got to know, like, what the hell is going on with drummers out there? Why do all bands deal with this issue?
I do not
like,
know.
they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drummers. Their drummer, Tim Alexander, is like their guy, but there was a big chunk of time, 2 big chunks of time without him. I think so, like 2 or 3 albums were made without him. So yeah. And that's the Suck on This record that you were talking about, is a live recording record. And most of the songs on that live recording are actually the songs that are on Frizzle Fry. So it's kind of all the same stuff. Okay, yeah, I think that's where I'm at with facts. All my other notes are kind of talking point based. So
perfect.
I guess we'll go track by track. Also, my seat keeps like, every time I lift it all the way up, I slowly
keep going down.
Yeah. This chair sucks.
Get a new one.
But anyway. Yeah, I guess. I'm spending too much money.
I know. I understand.
Okay.
All right, you want to lead us in our track by track?
Oh, of course I do. Let me pull up the actual track listing. Okay, so the opening song, with a whopping 6 minutes and 42 seconds, is To Defy the Laws of Tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I personally give the song a 3.5 out of 5. I think the song is good. It's interesting. It's like a minute too long, but at the same time, I don't think it would be the same song if it was shorter. So like, that's kind of where I'm conflicted. And I also kind of like think it's really badass when bands open their records with like songs over 5 minutes, because it reminds me of like Temple of the Dog a little bit. Is it? I think Reach Down is the opener. It's like a 10-minute song. It's just like such a like a I don't give a
Say
fuck
Hello to Heaven,
type
I think,
statement.
is the opener. I think Say Hello to Heaven is the
it?
opener. But Say Hello to Heaven's not a short song.
Are you? Yeah. Let's live fact check that. Temple. It's whatever their long song is on the album. Yes, you're right. It's Say Hello to Heaven. Oh wait, maybe Reach Down, I think, is the song I'm thinking of. It is. So Say Hello to Heaven is 6.5 minutes, and then Reach Down is 11 minutes. And then, yeah, so like that's respect.
And Reach Down is a kick-ass song. It's such a badass song.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to Primus. Yeah, I didn't like take a lot of notes on each song, so did you rank the song?
I did not rank the songs. I did not.
Okay, that's fine. How did you feel about that one?
I like the song. It's good.
Okay.
Because I don't know Primus super well, I'm not really, even having listened to it, because I've listened to this album through probably like 6 times or so since we decided to do it, and I'm still like figuring out which ones are which, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, fair enough. Okay, that's fine.
But I do remember To Defy the Laws of Tradition, and I do like that song. I think it's a very solid opener. It really sets the tone for what you're going to hear from Primus, I think, in this album. Because to me, it is a very, I hate to say standard, but it is a very standard Primus song. It feels like a legit, what you would think of when you think of Primus song. So in that regard, I did really enjoy it, for sure.
Great. All right. Song number 2 is Groundhog's Day. Song length is 4 minutes and 58 seconds. Again, that's pretty long.
Yeah, it is pretty long. It is. I enjoy Groundhog's Day. I like this song.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
Um,
funny,
it is.
but
You know what I? Go ahead.
go
Sorry.
ahead. No, you go.
I was gonna say what I did for the first time today, and I didn't do it with all of them because I just didn't have the time. I tried to read some of the lyrics, and as someone who's listened to this album like dozens of times at this point, never did I know what was going on in the lyrics.
Hmm.
I would like kind of sing along, but like even reading the lyrics for the first song, I was like, oh, this song is like literally about defying laws of tradition. Like
Mm-hmm.
doy. And the Groundhog's Day one, I don't remember what the lyrics were, but it is a funny song. That's what I love about
It
them.
is.
They have like funny songs.
Well, and the thing is too is that Les Claypool's vocal, like,
Mm-hmm. It's
it's
funny.
strange. It's strange.
Yeah,
So there are
it's
times
odd.
where he manipulates his voice, and you're like, this is kind of freaking weird, but I kind of love
I
it.
know.
But you're just sitting
Yeah,
there chuckling, like, what is he even fucking doing this
yeah.
whole time? Like, it's so strange. And
Almost
that's
like
how I
he's like.
felt with.
Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
love how we both pause, like, wait,
It's
who's
hard
gonna talk?
because I think we're on like a 0.25-second delay. So like,
Oh, it's the worst.
yeah, I know, but it is what it is. No, I was just gonna say that he sometimes sounds like he's like joking or like he's making like a
Yes,
joke out of himself when he's
yes,
or he's like
yes,
being silly. Yeah, that's
yes.
um
I agree for sure. But yes,
what was I gonna
I
say?
enjoy Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, it's a good one. I gave that one a 4 out of 5. So
It's strong. It's a
we're
strong.
on the up and up.
Yes.
And now we have song number 3, which is Too Many Puppies, which comes in at
I
3 minutes and
fucking
57
love this
seconds.
song. I
Me
love this song.
too. I gave it a 6 out of 5.
Oh shit!
This is
She's
my
like,
favorite.
screw that star rating. I'm gonna give it what I want.
Exactly.
It's my
This
favorite. It is my
is
favorite on the album, by
by
far.
far, it is my favorite Primus song of all
Wow.
Primus songs. This is my favorite Primus song. This is my favorite one to see them perform live. It's my favorite one on any record. I think this song is like 10 out of 10 perfect.
I love this song too. This song is amazing. It's so good,
It
and it
just
it gets stuck in your head too.
too
I
many
mean, I've been singing it. I've
puppies.
been singing it all day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
that
so
beat,
good.
whatever. I don't know if it's bass or guitar, whatever it is. The
Hmm.
bum bum
And
bum
you know,
bum
this
bum
song to me
bum
is
bum
potentially
bum.
the most covered Primus song because if you start like Googling it,
Oh.
tons of bands are covering Too Many Puppies. Like it's a thing.
Yeah, it's
So
fantastic.
yeah, I would put this in like the pinnacle Primus. Like if I were to say out of all their albums, three
Yeah.
songs that are pinnacle Primus songs, I think Too
Yes.
Many Puppies would be in there for sure. I love this song.
Every live show I've been to, they play this one. So I think that's like common feeling. You know, like
Yeah.
this is their song. That's not, and it was a single, I believe. Yeah, it was their John the Fisherman was the first, but this was the second
Yes.
single. It was released on July 26, 1990. So, um, yeah, fantastic piece of
And the
music.
fact that that was Les Claypool's first song, and this is how
Yeah.
big of an impact like it has had on Primus fans, like that's so cool. That's so
Yeah, talk
freaking
about
cool.
like songs that like really like if I were to tell somebody like the reason why I love this band, I would tell them that song.
Hmm.
Because like to me this is who they are.
Yeah.
And this is them at their absolute best and why,
Yes.
you know. So hopefully your friend who is it? That's not Matt, Jason. Hears this
Jason,
song
yes.
and can kind of come around
Doesn't
a little
hate
bit.
it.
At least on
Yeah,
this
for
song.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. Moving on. So this same thing kind of happened here that happened with Bauhaus last week. The middle of this record is just like a big meaty chunk of
Yes.
deliciousness. The whole
Yes.
middle of the record is so good.
I agree.
Mr. Know-It-All is song 4, comes in at 3 minutes and 51 seconds.
Hmm.
I give the song a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's a great one.
This is
4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. I think. Well, really, honestly, I would say from Mr. Know-It-All down to Spaghetti Western is just a big old chunk of not skippable, going straight through.
Obviously,
Primus.
if you're cutting out like the Can't Kill Michael Malloy, and the
Right.
Southington Willoughby, which is just like 30 seconds.
Interludes. Interludes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, though, because like also Groundhog's Day and Defy the Laws of Tradition are really good, but something about this like middle chunk here for me, like 3 to 6, are like probably 4 of my favorite Primus songs ever.
Yeah. See, I love, one of my favorites from this album is The Toys Go Winding Down. So I would have to tickle it down a little bit because I freaking love the bass line in that song. So, I mean, if you think about it though, Kate, honestly, I would say this is a perfect record.
Yeah, we're getting there.
And that's not saying, and I'm saying that from an objective standpoint, because Primus is by no means like a top favorite band of mine. I like them, but they're not somebody that I'm going to be like, oh my God, Primus. I'm not there yet anyway. I'm not there. But if you look at the quality of each of these songs, there's no sleepy moments in this album. There's no times where you're like, I don't really care for this, or okay, they can kind of move on. Like everything is very. I think that the song arrangement is perfect. I don't think anything needs to change or move. You know, it's like it's just everything. It's just like boom after boom after boom after boom.
It is. It really doesn't slow down ever.
No.
The only, I guess I could say it. Well, no, I'll just say it now. Who cares? The only song I would consider removing, and I don't think I would because it is very Primacy, is Spaghetti Western. Just because it just doesn't make me feel, like pumped like some of the other songs do. And it's kind of a spoken word.
But it's still cool. But it's still
awesome.
Cool.
It's still cool, and it's like funny again, like you said. It has that like humorous factor to it. So this album really is like from beginning to end is very good. It like does not miss, as they say.
No. It slaps, as the children say.
As the young folks say.
That's right.
It slaps. I say that all the time. I say that things slap all the time.
I do not
to be young. Maybe I don't say it all the time, but I definitely do say it like jokingly, but also kind of serious.
I say it jokingly, but I don't ever think to say it seriously. So maybe I need to bring that into my vocabulary. I don't know. Anyway, Mr. Know-It-All, you gave a 5 out of 5. Moving on to Frizzle Fry.
Frizzle Fry, 5 out of 5.
I love Frizzle Fry.
Minutes.
Such a good song.
It's so good.
John the Fisherman, great, of course.
That is their first single, which I gave a 4 out of 5. So now we're kind of on the, I shouldn't say decline, because I still love this song, but comparing John the Fisherman to like those past 3 songs, I'm like, I love this song, but I can't equate it to the other 3. Then we have the You Can't Kill Michael Malloy, which is just a voice interlude. It's performed by Matt Winiger, who I think was the producer. Yeah, he was the producer. No, yeah, he was the producer of the band for this album, at least. Then we have The Toys Go Winding Down.
Love
I
it.
gave that a 3.5 out of 5. Again,
hot take.
But again, I gave To Defy the Laws of Tradition a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's just because the other songs in the middle I love so much. They're like elevated. They're 3 of my favorite Primus songs. I wouldn't put this one on that list, so I have to put it down to a 3.5.
Okay, all right.
Is The Toys Go Winding Down?
Pudding
time. The Toys Go Winding Down. Is it the bass line that's like boom, 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 boom,
yes,
boom.
I think so. Yes.
I'm so glad you're able to understand what I was just doing.
And I love that song. I would probably give, if we're doing it song by song, I would give Too Many Puppies a 5 out of 5. I would give Frizzle Fry probably a 4.5 out of 5. And I would give Toys Go Winding Down a 4 out of 5. I love it.
There you go. Yeah, it's great. And I love how The Toys Go Winding Down like leads into Pudding Time, because he sings Pudding Time in Toys Go Winding Down. Like the songs are kind of like together. So Pudding Time is song 9, 4 minutes and 8 seconds. Then we have Southington Willoughby. Again, 24 seconds of just Les being silly. Um, Spaghetti Western. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I gave Pudding Time a 3.5 out of 5 also. Spaghetti Western, I gave a 2 out of 5.
Wow. I
Yeah.
enjoy Spaghetti Western. It's a little long, but I enjoy it.
Maybe if it was like shorter, maybe if it was like if you look at the lyrics, they're very short.
Yeah.
So maybe if it was, I don't know. That one just doesn't give me the feels. Then we have Herald of the Rocks, which is song number 12. 6 minutes and 17 seconds. These guys don't fuck around. They're playing long music.
Yes,
Herald of
they
the
are.
Rocks, I gave a 3 out of 5.
All right, so you're picking
Again,
back
I
up a
like the
little.
song. Yeah, I think it's good. But it doesn't make me feel in the same way as the other ones do. And then we have To Defy, which is basically just like a bookend
Yes.
to the intro song. And then I've always listened to, I didn't even realize this, or at least when I don't listen to the record, I've listened to like the reissue version. So the song Hello Skinny Constantinople. Honestly, I could very much do without that song. So I'm happy to see that it's actually not on the original version of the record.
Yeah.
It's a cover of the band
Oh, by
called The
who?
Residents. The Residents.
Oh, okay. I know the Residents are. Yes.
Who Primus has been, or at least Les has been compared to, which I saw on Wikipedia. I've never heard of them before. Yeah, so that is the album. The full album length is 56 minutes and 11 seconds. So it's a pretty decent, I mean, it's a chunk of a record. You know, it doesn't fuck around. A lot of the songs are on the longer side, in my opinion, like, you know, just based on average song length.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just like stating like the facts. There's really only one song. No, I'm sorry. 3 songs minus the interludes that are less than 4 minutes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So, yeah, that's Frizzle Fry.
Them's the tracks. Them's the tracks.
I'm going to, if you kind of did your song ranking already, do you want to do it more clearly?
Yeah, I'll do. So my number 1 is Too Many Puppies. My number 2 is Frizzle Fry, and my number 3 is The Toys Go Whitey Down.
Nice.
So there you go.
My number 1 is Too Many Puppies. My number 2 is Mr. Know-It-All, and my number 3 is Frizzle Fry. I also kind of already said that. And then I have my John the Fisherman as my honorable mention this week. So, yeah, these songs to me are just like, so I guess I'll get into like my story about this band a little bit, because I would not know this band at all if it weren't for my brother. He is obsessed with Primus, has been since the 90s. I didn't really know much about them at all until actually 2011 when Green Naugahyde came out, which is their their 7th album, maybe. That's the one that came out after Antipop, which was in 1999. That's the first one that they came out with in a long time. And for some reason, that album, like, I loved it. And I don't know if that's a popular opinion, honestly, especially for people who are like hardcore Primus fans. But I was like obsessed with it. I could not stop listening to that album when it came out. And so that was really my first Primus record. And then I kind of like years later went back to listening to more, and I got it. That's when I got into Frizzle Fry. That's when I listened to Pork Soda a bit. I listened to the Brown album. I pretty much have listened to like every other Primus album for whatever reason. That's just like what's happened. So Frizzle Fry, Pork Soda, Brown album, and Green Naugahyde are like the 4 Primus albums I know. The rest are, you know, Sailing the Seas of Cheese, Tales from the Punch Bowl, Antipop, and then things start getting weird in 2014, where they do a cover of the Charlie and the Chocolate, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory soundtrack, which I could do without, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get, like, you know, like Primus is weird and like this shit that they do, but and then this Desaturating 7 comes out in 2017. I do know that album also, which I think that album's fine. But overall, I think my experience with this band has been, you know, just I have like a personal connection because it's my brother's favorite band, and you know, his music taste has really influenced mine since
Mm-hmm.
he's, you know, quite a bit older than me. And we've seen them live a bunch together, and their live shows are so much fun. Like, they really are. They bring out some weird people, and they just like bring out the best in people too. And like when you go see them live, you can kind of see where that metal
Mm-hmm.
comes in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And even on this album, Frizzle Fry, I think I hear quite a
Oh
bit of
yeah, for
metal on
sure.
it. Yeah. Um, Overall though, like especially when Green Naugahyde was my favorite album, I would never think of Primus as a metal band, but probably more in their early days. Um, yeah, so that's kind of my history with them. If anybody ever has the chance to see them live, I'd recommend it. And again, seeing them live is also like I saw them live like when the Chocolate Factory one came out, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, really.
I was like, is this really necessary? But they usually like they still do play for the fans, and they will play their other
Mm-hmm.
music
Their
as well,
hits.
even
Yeah.
if they're like promoting, yeah, even if they're promoting something that's like that or a newer album or something. But yeah, overall, I think that they're definitely a band that, and I found myself feeling this way even listening to the album this time around. And this is kind of where I could see your friend Jason's perspective, because I can't like listen to this album a lot. Um, I listened to it. I obviously listened to it more this month than I have in a while because of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those where I'm like, and Primus in general, I'm always like, all right, I've had enough of Primus for a while.
Yeah.
And like, it's just because, like you said, it's chaotic. It has,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of how I felt about Bauhaus last week as well. It just starts to make you feel a certain way that it's like, okay, I just need to like go listen to like some top 40 music to like reset myself because it's just like, it's a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and it's really fun and it's really good, but it's not for
It's
it's
not
not
for
for
the
the
faint of
faint of
heart.
heart. Yeah, like
Exactly.
it's there's a lot going on, so you kind of have to be in the mood for it. If
Yeah.
you're not, you could probably get into the mood for it, but like I said, like today I listened to it through like twice maybe, and then I was like driving on my way home from work, and I was like, oh, I should put it on again. I was like, I really don't want to. I
Yeah.
really don't think I could listen to the full album again. Um, and again, all the songs are pretty long.
Yeah.
It takes an hour to get through, so you know, but overall, very fun band. I love the music that they put out. I think it's so funny, and that's kind of why I wrote some notes about their quote unquote genre,
Mm-hmm.
because everything that I read about this band on their band page and also their album page, there is like they have been described as every genre under the sun. Like they
Yeah.
don't have one. And Les even says that at some point. I don't know if I copied and pasted this part, but he basically said, like, I guess, you know, we have to be put into some kind of category, but I don't really see the point in that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and I was actually, this is like totally off topic, but I was watching one of my morning news shows because I'm an 80-year-old woman. I was watching it the other day, and they were doing a special on Gary Clark Jr. And
Oh, I
yeah,
love
who's
him
great. I mean, I don't know a
so
lot of his
much.
music, but I know I'm familiar. So they were talking to him, and he kind of said the same thing about, you know, once you're kind of in the musical world and you're, you know, under a like whatever, your name is known, it's impossible to not be put into some kind of category when really at the end of the day, musicians are artists who should just be able to make whatever music they want. And because I think he was talking about one of his newer records that came out and how it was different
Yeah.
from a previous one. And he made the comparison to who is it? Is it Andre 3000 from that's from Outkast, right?
Outcasts. Yes, that just
Yeah,
did that.
he came out with like a
Mm-hmm.
flute record or something.
Yes.
And Gary Clark Jr. was like, "That's so fucking badass that Andre 3000 came out with a flute record." And I honestly feel like that's kind of like what this band does. Like they don't give a shit about putting out a record that's covering Willy Wonka songs,
Mm-hmm.
because they probably heard it over the course of their lives and are like, this music is fun and we could do something funky with it, and that's what they did.
Yes.
Yeah, so just like all the terms used for them, Oh, did I not write this down? I thought I did. Oh God, this is what happens when you prepare the last minute. Oh, musical style, legacy, and influences. It's just funny. It's like prog rock, prog metal, absurdist funk rock, um, alternative metal, art funk,
Mm-hmm.
like literally and psychedelic polka.
That's amazing. That is what their genre should be.
That's what Claypool
We
called.
found the one.
That's what Claypool referred to himself as.
Yes.
So, yeah. Or thrash funk, like any term. And yeah, so I'm just going to kind of read here like this little synopsis. Primus is characterized by its irreverent, quirky approach to music, distinguished by Claypool's bass-centric songwriting and eccentric lyrical themes. Also, we haven't even touched on, like, we don't really touch on lyrics on here, but, you know, even like Green Naugahyde, I think that's why I love that album so much. This one, lyrically, for me, I don't really care. But, like, Green Naugahyde, like, he's singing some wild things. And I think that's why I liked it so much. The band's musical style, which draws influence from progressive rock, metal, funk, and psychedelic music, has been noted as difficult to categorize and is most frequently described by critics as funk metal, a label the band has rejected. In 1993, Robert Christgau remarked that Primus is quite possibly the strangest top 10 band ever, and good for them. That's how I feel about them, too.
Yes. Yeah, there's no one quite like Primus. I mean, and they set the stage for any sort of bass-centered music, I feel like.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on that.
Anytime I hear an artist, like there's a newer band, you might be familiar with them, but they're called Thumpasaurus. Have you ever listened to them?
I don't know why that sounds familiar.
Well, you would love
so.
them. You should listen to them.
Okay.
But they give off they're not the same, because they definitely have a different style, but they give off such Primus vibes. And I feel like anytime you hear extremely bass heavy, like when you fuse rock with funk, if it's extremely bass heavy like that, Primus is going to forever be the benchmark, I think, of where you can go with bass-centered music. Because really, I mean, not to discredit the other guys that are in the band, but Les Claypool's ability to play that instrument is like what makes this band so incredible to me. And you know, it is very interesting because they're one of those bands that, like, people, I feel like it's very divisive. People either love them or they don't. If they're not like me, I'm not as familiar, but I would say if I had to choose, I like Primus more than I don't like Primus. So, you know, they're just interesting. They're an interesting group. And think about in the 90s, like when did Frizzle Fry come out? 90? Okay, so you're fixing to gear up into like one of the biggest years in like grunge rock music ever. And here comes Primus playing this like gnarly, like Too Many Puppies, like grungy but not grungy. It is. So I just wrote down like a little paragraph, and I'll read it. It's not the greatest writing, so I'm sorry. It says, I want to note that when I started listening to this record, I didn't think I would end up giving it a very good score. But the more I listen to it, the more I find myself really enjoying it. Taking Primus at face value and just enjoying them for their instrumentation alone is what makes them worth the listen. The edge on the line of being a jam band, but instead of a psychedelic streak that you'd find in a lot of jam bands from the 90s and before, there's a dirt and grunge to Primus that puts them in a whole separate category. They are truly one of a kind, and whether or not Primus is your thing, there is something to be said about the way they approach their music and the detail to which they delve.
Yeah.
So that to me is like the synopsis of what I learned from listening to this album. Like, I don't care if you don't like Primus or you say you don't like Primus. Like, nobody's making music. Nobody was making music like Primus, and really nobody ever has made music like Primus. Primus is like, they are definitely, undeniably something that has never been replicated. And I think that's what's so cool about them. That's what's so cool about them is like, they're so unique, and yet they're, I mean, you hear Jerry was a race car driver everywhere, pretty much. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. I love it. I really, really, really thoroughly enjoyed this record, and I'm glad that we did it.
Yeah, me
So
too. That what you wrote is exactly what I would have said, if I sat down about, in this like probably like 5, 7, 10 years ago, like whenever I first started listening to them, that's probably like what exactly I was thinking, put
yeah,
into words. So I'm glad you put that together. And it's just this feeling of like, wow, there really is not anything like this. And it is really weird, but I can't stop listening to it.
yeah,
There's such an addictive quality. And like you would think like face value, if you like took a look at Les and like heard his voice, you'd be like, this is a fucking joke, right? But
hmm
it's not. Like it works. It works with the way he plays music, and it works with the way that the band like fuses their music together.
yeah,
And you're right, there really is not anybody like them, and there wouldn't be, because like you don't replicate something like this, because if somebody tried to
right,
replicate something like this, it would sound so silly and stupid. It just wouldn't
right.
work. But it works for them, and I'm so happy that they all decided to make music together. And I think they
Heck
might be
yeah.
coming out with something again soon. I don't know. They put out an EP last year or this year, which I haven't listened to actually. But I hope that means that they're putting out like a new record as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It
That
would
would be
be.
awesome. Well, so what is your rating, 1 to 5 stars overall of this record?
I averaged my scores, like my song scores again, and it feels low. So maybe I'll just come up with my own. If I average my scores, it's a 3.95 out of 5.
Okay, well, I did 3.8.
Oh, okay. I'll stick with
So,
my 3.95 then. Yeah.
yeah.
And I think
I
the
mean,
only reason, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think what you're about to say is what's coming out of my mouth. I think the only reason why we would maybe not put it at something that's like a 5 star album is because it's not something that we're going to go back to continuously and listen to all the time. If you're
Yeah.
talking objectively, I would give it a perfect score, because to
Yeah.
me, objectively, this album is from start to finish. There's not really anything that I would skip. There's not anything I would change. I mean, maybe cut things down by a minute or two in a few songs,
Mm-hmm.
but I think overall this album really is a killer, especially for being a
Mm-hmm.
debut album. I
Yes.
mean, it's a killer record.
Mm-hmm.
So objectively, I would say more like 5 stars, but coming from a personal perspective, I would say 3.8 out of 5.
Yeah. I like, you're exactly right. That is what I was going to say. It's coming from a place of, I personally myself could listen to this album. Like if I'm in the mood for Primus, like this is the one I'm going to go to. But if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not in the mood for Primus, I'm just not going to put it on. I have to be in
Right,
the mood for it.
exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, 3.95 out of 5.
We're
We love
right
it.
there. We
We
love
are
it.
right there.
Frizzle Fry by
Frizzle
Primus.
Fry, for I am the Frizzle Fry.
Well, Kate, we did it.
We
We
did. We
have
talked
done
about
it.
Frizzle Fry.
We did.
I'm
Yes,
trying to
we
think,
did.
was there anything else I wanted to mention? No. I feel like we covered it
I
pretty
think we
well.
did a great job.
We
Yep.
didn't talk about like the album art at all, which is kind of also very weird. Let's see if I could pull up I was hoping that my records would have been out before we recorded this. Like out of the boxes, I mean, but they're still in the boxes for many reasons.
Yeah.
So for those of you tuning in to our live stream, oh, this looks terrible, but it's a clay gross head in a oily frying pan.
Yep.
And I remember like one time looking at this, I was like sweltering in my when I lived with my grandma, where I did not have air conditioning, and it was like 90 degrees out one day. I remember looking at that record and being like, that's exactly how I feel right now. I feel like
I'm
a
restarting my
molded piece of
computer.
plastic in a
I'm not trying to
what?
get all up and personal, but my
Oh,
computer.
okay.
I'm still recording because I'm doing it on my
Oh,
phone,
okay.
but I had all my notes and everything pulled up in it.
I might have to start doing this on my phone because my computer does not like this. Whatchamacallit we're using. It's very distracting. I don't know if you could hear. Can you hear my computer by any chance?
I can't.
Oh, that's weird.
What?
I just got an alert from my. Sorry, everybody. I got an alert from my phone. Like, you know, like, do you have an Apple Watch?
Mm-mm.
Well, you know, like when you like sync something to your phone, like it'll tell you, like, or whether it's a laptop or something, it'll tell you like, oh, device added to your Apple account or whatever. I just got that for an Apple Watch, and I already have one. I'm wearing it. So now I'm scared that somebody just like hacked into my shit.
Ew.
Yeah. It says an Apple Watch now has access to iMessage and FaceTime. If you don't recognize this device, you can remove it in settings. Okay. Anyway, I'll deal with this when we're done. But yeah, who's trying to hack me? Oh, God, speaking of horrible things that happened recently, I mean, this does not compare to your life, and I apologize. It's not me.
Oh my God, please.
Last weekend, on the eve of St. Patrick's Day, where I spent the whole day. It's also my best friend's birthday on St. Patrick's Day. So naturally, we went out and we had some beverages.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing crazy, but, you know, slightly indulged.
Sure.
4:50 in the morning on St. Patrick's Day, our building's fire alarm system was triggered. And when I tell you, Jessi, I don't even know how to put into words how loud a fire alarm system is in an apartment building, because I've never lived in one before. I've only ever had smoke detectors, which, you know, are whatever. You wave your little towel and it stops. Deafening. Like, immediately woken up. My heart is literally pounding out of my chest so hard. And, like, both me and Kev, again, we had been indulging the day before in some beverages. Our heads, or at least mine, I can only speak for myself, my brain felt like it was oozing out of my ears. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it went on for like 10 minutes. We could tell there was nothing happening. Did y'all have to leave? We didn't, because we could tell there was no fire or smoke or anything. Like, there was no evidence that an emergency was occurring. And, you know, like, we have the cat. Like, it's not like an easy thing to do. So finally, we were just sitting there, like, in our bed, like, with our pillows over our heads, like, oh my God, when will this nightmare end? And the whole time, there was not a second where my heart stopped pounding, because it's scary as fuck. Like, it does something to your body to hear a sound that loud. And then finally it went off. And then naturally, it's like 5 a.m. and my heart has been racing. I had adrenaline coursing through my veins for the last 10 minutes. I am wide fucking awake and in pain. Can't calm down. Took me like an hour to fall back to sleep. And then I found out the next day from our like building manager or whatever that it wasn't like, we found out through an email that it wasn't like a fire emergency. But when I talked to her like face to face, she told me that it was a person that did it. A person pulled the fire alarm.
What a dick.
I know. And I think we should all just be able to. I don't know if they live
Vote them off the island.
No, they don't live here. That's the wild thing, because it was like in a fire alarm that was kind of accessible to like the street. So anyway, just again a PSA to people considering this lifestyle.
Don't.
I mean, it's been fine otherwise, but like, oh my God, it's no joke.
Oh, I thought you were saying if people were going to indulge in the lifestyle of pulling fire alarms. Don't.
Oh, no, that don't. Live in an apartment building. Just know the risks. And we live in like a nice one too. It's not like we're like in a bad area. Like, this is like a decent place. You know, it's run well, it's managed well. But I guess maybe you shouldn't put a fire alarm in the vestibule that has street access. I don't fucking know.
No.
But anyway, that was my terrible thing to happen this month.
Gross.
I'm still recovering. This was 2 weeks
ago. I can imagine. That would have shooken me up too, man.
Yeah.
Shooken.
I can't. We have so many people in our building who have children, who are old, elderly people live here. People with big dogs, huge dogs. Like, it's just us two and a cat. And poor Amber was like shitting herself. Like, I was I can't even. Took her all morning to be normal again. But yeah, so I don't know why I started talking about this.
I don't even remember what we were talking about before, to be honest.
Me either. Clearly, I just need to share the trauma to like let it like seep out of my
Unpack
system.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
unpack the trauma a bit. Yeah, but yeah. So, anywho's, Primus, we love him.
Yes. Well, is there anything that we want to say or add before we wrap things up?
We should remind people what our email address is if they want to talk
Yeah.
about
Yes, it's a good
Primus or
idea.
anything else.
So, if you want to find us on Instagram or Facebook, you can hit up Two Turntables and a Microphone. I think Instagram. Let me see what the handle. I'm still getting adjusted to these new handles, y'all. So bear with me.
I know, and I also feel like such a schmuck because I am not on Instagram again, and then I was like, oh my god, I forgot that we have this. Like, thank God you're so good with it and you're posting because I am doing my best to stay as far away from social media as possible, but I
Mm-hmm.
kind of forget that this is a part of what we're doing, and I have logged back into that one. So,
Oh, good. Yeah. So the handle is the number two, TT, and a mic. That is also our email address, to TT and a mic at gmail.com. So you can email us and give us your thoughts. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook. Um, I try to do as much posting as I can, but I'm
she's
not
very good
super
at it.
great. I
Yes,
feel
she
like I'm
is.
not, but
Well, you're good at I don't know what you mean by you're not good at it because the pictures look great and the captions look great. If you mean you're not great, like do you feel like you don't do it enough?
yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, you posted 3
But
times in the last month. That's a lot,
but you
no?
know
I don't
what,
know.
guys?
I'm
But
so
you know
bad at
what,
this stuff.
guys? We are two women that are heading into our mid 30s, and
Oh,
I don't
God, why'd you
feel
say
like
that?
I'm required to be constantly on social media all the time anymore. I'm past that phase of my
Mm-hmm.
life.
That's why
Um,
I'm logged out of my personal one because
yeah,
it's bringing me nothing but it brings me like
anxiety.
10% joy, and I really do miss that 10% of joy, like funny
Yes,
videos and talking to my
yes.
friends on there and sharing stuff. Like I do miss that, but the other 90% just makes me feel like, what am I doing? Why am I sitting here scrolling through shit I don't really care about? And that makes me feel weird and stupid about my life choices. Like that's just
It
not
the
for
guilt
me.
that comes for me is for
Yes.
like taking so much time. Like I could be reading a book, I could be
Yes.
watching a movie, I could be
Yep.
having a conversation with somebody. So I've been trying to pull back on it a bit more too. Me and my
Yeah.
husband send stuff to each other constantly. Me and my two closest friends send stuff to each other constantly. Um,
Yeah, that's the hard part about not being on it.
yeah, but
But
I got
it
rid
is
of
what it is.
TikTok
So did I.
because TikTok was the one that I would sit there for
Oh,
hours.
horrible. It's a
It's
sickness.
it is, and so I had to get off of it. I just couldn't do it
Yeah.
anymore. With Instagram, I can kind of get to a point where I'm like, all right, this is getting stupid, and I can throw it aside. But with
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, it was just like their algorithms are so strong, and it would just lead
So
me into
strong.
this like death scrolling, and I couldn't do it
Horrible.
anymore.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So
It's tough
anyway,
out
but
there.
yes, find us on social
Life is hard
media.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Anyway,
We do
find us
we
on
do
social
post
media.
we do post on social media. Find us on social media. Typically, what I like to do is I like to do um, something kind of somewhat announcing what we're going to be covering. I typically like to do like some sort of um, what's the word, interaction posts, and then a
Mm-hmm.
reminder that we have a stream coming up, and then I might do one post. So, if you see us post something on there, it means a lot if you would interact because we don't get near the likes that we used to get with our Pearl Jam content, and I get
No.
that. That's okay. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
starting something new and it's different and, whatever. But yeah, definitely follow us and hit us up with emails if you want to put your input in on what's going
We will
on.
we
And
will we will read the emails
yeah, oh, absolutely. We
for the most
totally
part.
will read the
As
emails.
long as they're not
Yes.
weird and annoying.
Yeah, well, yes, of course. Yeah. If you're weird and annoying, we're not going to read your emails. Sorry.
No.
Um, yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's it.
So, yeah.
I would
Kate?
listen to us.
Oh, well, me too. But I mean, we're the ones that are creating the content, so we're already listening to us.
I know. True.
We're so cool. We're so trendy and edgy.
We're so beautiful and smart and cool and just so fabulous.
We are. Yes, we are.
Yeah, I say that sarcastically, but I do mean it.
I'm just gonna point to him every time he comes through my stream. I'm just gonna be like, just to embarrass him.
Shame.
There he goes.
You should ring the bell, like
I'll walk in your stream.
Announcing his presence.
No, do you know Game of Thrones?
I mean, I know what Game of Thrones is. Whoa, there he goes. He just got Kate to laugh really hard. You're not afraid? Well, Zachary streams. If you're into video games, my husband is a video game streamer. What is your handle, Zach? Is it ZWOGS? That's it? Just Zwogs? There you go. Zwogs.
Z as in zebra.
Huh?
Z as in zebra.
Z as in zebra. Yes. Z as in zebra. But he streams. He's mostly a Tarkov streamer. For those of you that know video games.
The first time I've heard that word.
Kate says it's the first time she's heard that word.
Tarkov?
Yeah. The whole game is called Escape from Tarkov. It's like a shooter game, and he plays it with his friends, and they are very funny. So if you want to go watch a good video game stream, you can head over to Zwogs and watch that. There he is. There he is. After you watch 2 turntables and a microphone, of course, because that's priority.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Zach?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Have fun.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye, Kate Cotton.
Bye.
Bye, stream.
She's laughing. She says bye.
Bye.
I'm laughing because I'm
Bye.
uncomfortable.
I know. For those of you that don't know, when we did our porch podcast, my husband was our producer. So he was very involved in our podcast, and we could not have done it without him.
No,
And because he does, no, it would never have worked. But because he does his video game streaming every night now, pretty much, we had to find a new way to do our podcast. Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, at least I would say at least 4 times a week, if not 5. He's streaming.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, but that's why we had to think of a new way to do our podcast, because your girl and your girl can't do that crap. So
No, I just don't have time. No thanks.
No, same. Me neither. All right, friends, we're gonna get off. My mouth is tired, so I think
I'm sure
it's time to ski-daddle. But thanks for listening to 2 Turntables and a Microphone. My name is Jessi.
My name's Kate.
And we will see you guys next month for another episode of 2 Turntables and a Microphone. Peace!
Bye.
Bye!